everyone. Farooq Nazir from the Department of Education, Hazara University of Mansehra is here. Today we are going to discuss improving sentence structure. How to improve sentence structure. So this week content is related to the previous week content in which we discuss about the how to write a paragraph and what are the components of the paragraph. So let's begin. So this is the overview of our presentation today. So first I'm going to discuss what are the grammatically complete sentences, active and passive sentences that are used in academic writing, and then what are the common errors in sentence structure. So what is meant by grammatically complete sentence? So a complete sentence consists of a like complete thought and make complete sense on its own. A sentence that like conveys a complete idea or thought. It is the complete sentence. So the other characteristic of a complete sentence is that it begins with a capital letter and ends with a full stop, exclamation, or question mark. And a complete sentence always contains a verb, expresses a complete idea, and makes sense standing alone. So these aspects will be clarified from the example. So a grammatically complete sentence consists of a subject. So what is a subject? A subject tells you who or what the sentence is about. Verb that tells you about the subject, and a complement. Complement is a group of words that provides more information about the verb if required. So if these all aspects will be clarified to the example. So the sentence, the result of the study confirmed the writer's hypothesis. So in this sentence, the result of the study is subject, and the confirmed is verb, and the writer's hypothesis, this is the complement. Like it provides further information, more information about the verb. So this is the concept of a complete sentence. With complete sentence, sometimes there are simple sentences, and sometimes there are sentences that are like long sentences. So in the long sentences there are clauses. So what is a clause? Clause is any group of words that contains a subject and a verb, which may or may not be a complete sentence. So a clause contains subject and verb, but it is like not a complete sentence. It does not, it sometimes does not give a like complete idea. So the sentence, the result of the study confirmed the writer's hypothesis. So this is the, it has only one clause. So when there are some sentences which which have like more than one clause. So they may contain two or more independent clauses. So the clauses that contains the essential information and make sense of their own. The word independent shows that like it can make sense of the sentence can make sense of their own, and it can be the combination of independent and dependent clauses. So independent clauses like the clauses that do not contain essential and information and depend on the main clause to express a complete thought. So this example will clarify the dependent clause and the independent clause. So although the result of the study was inconclusive, the committee decided to implement the policy. So the dependent clause in this example is although the result of the study was inconclusive. So it is like it is it does not give a complete thought. So this is the it needs an independent clause to complete the thought or the idea. So and the independent clause is the committee decided to implement the policy. The committee decided to implement the policy. It gives a complete thought. So sometimes we have sentence that consist of more than one clause, and it has like the dependent clause and the independent clause. So one another example, if the result of the study confirmed the writer's hypothesis, it would be a major breakthrough in the world of biochemistry. So let's identify the dependent and the independent clause. So if the result of the study confirm the writer's hypothesis, so this is the dependent clause, and the independent clause is it would be a major breakthrough in the world of chemistry. So you can like see that by reading the only the dependent clause, it doesn't give, and it gives an incomplete thought. But the independent class, it can stand on its own. It gives somewhat idea like it would be a major breakthrough in the world of biochemistry. So it's somewhat give a thought, but a complete thought. But the dependent class, it doesn't give a complete thought. So these two combines to give a whole sentence, meaningful sentence. And so you can from the examples you can see that like the importance of the complete sentences, that in your writing you have to write complete sentences. So related to the grammatically complete sentences is the sentence fragment. So a sentence is incomplete if it does not express a complete thought, even if it contains a subject and a verb. So although it contains a subject and a verb, but sometimes it do not give a complete thought. So in that case, it is called a sentence fragment. So the following dependent clause is a sentence fragment if the result of the study confirmed the writer's hypothesis. So in that sentence fragment, we have verb, and we also have a subject, but it is like incomplete sentence. It doesn't give a complete thought. So this is the sentence fragment. So I have observed in my thesis checking process that a lot of times students like have incomplete sentences, and usually they are the sentence fragment that do not give a complete thought. So you need to make sure that when you write, after you're completing your writing, you need to go through your writing and identify the any incomplete sentences and correct these sentences. One of the strategy to identify these things, like to identify these mistakes, is to read aloud your content. So when you read aloud your content, so you are better able to catch the errors. So now we have discussed the complete sentences. Like what are the complete sentences? So the complete sentence is the sentence that gives a complete thought, a meaningful sentence. So now in academic writing, most of the time you have to write in active and passive wise. So let's go through these. So in an active sentence, the subject is the performer of the action. On the other hand, in a passive sentence, the subject is the receiver of the action. So, for example, the university conducted the study in 2008. So, in that, the university, this is the subject. It is like performing the action of conducting the study. So, but in that the active example sentence example, the focus is on university that conducted the study. So on the other hand, in the passive one, the study was conducted by the university in 2008. The focus is on the study, like the subject is the receiver of the action. So sometimes, a lot of times, you have to write sentences in passive voice. So English sentences are usually constructed in active voice, and that have the advantage or quality of being clear and direct. So when the focus is on when you want to write less directly, like you want to shift the focus, you write in the passive voice. So in the passive voice, the focus is on the third person, and this makes writing more authoritative and formal. So the characteristics of using passive voice in academic writing is that it allows you to direct the audience to focus on the information or the argument being presented, and not on the writer or the speaker. So in the previous example, like the focus was on the so let's go to the slide that the study was conducted by the university. So the focus is on the study that was conducted by the university. Like, but in the active voice example, the focus is on the university that conducted the study. So omit any mention of the actor or agent where it is unimportant or unknown. Like in the passive voice, like the focus is on the action, not the subject. So when there is like the actor is unknown, so through in passive voice you can like shift the focus on the action. So the passive voice allows you to place certain material at the end of the clause so that it may receive the emphasis of final position. So let's see the what are the common errors in sentences, in sentence structure. So one of the common error is, or the mistake is, a sentence fragment. So we have discussed the sentence fragment earlier. So a sentence fragment is a group of words that does not express a complete idea and cannot make sense on its own. To complete it, additional information needs to be added. So in the example uh, of the of dependent and independent clause. So the sentence fragments are most of the time there that are the dependent clauses that need some extra, that need some other details to complete the thought. So from the examples, we can identify the correct and the incorrect uh, sentences, like the error, the sentence fragment error. So the first incorrect one example is, although the result of the study was inconclusive. So it doesn't give a complete idea, like what was the study, like what happened next. The reader always looks what happened next. So in the see the correct sentence, the that gave a complete thought. Although the result of the study was inconclusive, the committee decided to implement the policy. So you can see that it is giving complete thought. So one another example, the incorrect sentence, if the result of the study confirmed the writer's hypothesis, period. It doesn't give a complete idea or thought, but the correct form. If the result of the study confirmed the writer's hypothesis, it would be a major breakthrough in the world of biochemistry. So you can see the correct form, that it is giving the a complete idea or thought. So a sentence fragment is usually an incomplete idea consisting of a dependent clause, and it needs an independent clause to complete the thought or idea. So when a sentence begins with a conjunction, for example, after, although, is, because, before, since, unless, until, when, why, which, while, it is a dependent clause. So remember this. So when a sentence begins with a conjunction, so it is the dependent clause. It needs an independent clause to complete the sentence or thought. So a sentence can also be a fragment if it does not contain a subject and a verb. So the example of this is the study conducted by the university. So the result of the study conducted by the university in 2008. So these are the sentence fragments that are not giving in complete thoughts. So you need to make sure that, and you need to make sure that you don't do this mistake in your writing of that you write incomplete sentences or sentence fragments. So the common error number two, that students do in their writing is writing run-on sentences. A run-on sentence occurs when two independent clauses so independent clauses are the clauses that have some complete thoughts are blended together into one without proper punctuation. So when there is like no proper punctuation between two independent clauses, so this is the run-on sentence. So the example of this, so see these two sentences. So these are the two in each of these sentence. There is the independent two independent clauses. So the first one, the survey shows that more than 80% of the population agrees that racism is rife. However, only 12% of the population admits that they are racist. So there lacks a proper punctuation in this sentence. So that's why it is the run-on sentence. So the next one, more than 80% of the population agrees that racism is rife, comma, 12% of the population admits that they are racist. So still this is run-on sentence because it contains a punctuation, a comma, but it is the wrong punctuation that is here. So in the next slides, so the correct form is presented. So to repair a run-on sentence, place a full stop between two independent clauses. So this is the strategy that you need to uh, understand and use when going through your writing, so that you can catch the error, that always place a full stop between two independent clauses. So for example, the incorrect form that I have described previously, that this is the these are two independent clauses, but it is a run-on sentence. What is missing is that there's a proper full stop is missing, that the A survey shows that more than 80% of the population agrees that racism is rife, period. This is a complete sentence. So, and the other part, other independent class, however, only 12% of the population admits that they are racist. It's a separate sentence. So, students do this mistake a lot of time in their writing. So, uh, be aware and avoid this mistake. So, the other strategy to repair run-on sentences is to place a semicolon between the two independent clauses. So the other example I described, that more than 80% of the population agrees that racism is rife, comma 12% of the population admits that they are racist. So this is the incorrect form, because the we need a semicolon here, not a comma. So the correct form is like more than 80% of the population agrees that racism is rife, semicolon. 12% of the population admits that they are racist. So the third strategy to repair run-on sentences is to place a comma and a linking word, for example, which and wills, etc., between two independent clauses. So incorrect form of the sentence, more than 80% of the population agrees that racism is rife. So there's a comma here. 12% of the population admits that they are racist. So, and one thing is missing. You can see in the correct form that, and you need a linking word that can link two independent clauses. So this strategy you can use to repair your run-on sentences. The third error that that students do in their writing is the lack of subject verb agreement. So all subjects in English sentences are either singular or plural. A singular subject needs a singular verb, and a plural subject needs a plural verb. So, and you need to ignore words within the commas that come between subject and the verb. So, this is the main thing that you need to know, that you need to ignore the words that come between the subject and the verb, so that you can decide that which that you can decide that which form of the verb you have to use, so there is subject verb agreement. So see the example, the textbook as well as these journal articles is essential for the assignment. So you need to remember this, the thing is that you need to ignore this part to decide like which form is to use. So the textbook is essential for the assignment. So with the singular subject, you need to use a singular verb. So see the next example. These journal articles, along with the textbook, ignore this one, are essential for the assignment. So with the plural one, articles, you are using the plural are. So when the subject consists of two or more nouns joined by and a plural verb is used. Phrases like as well as, in addition to, and along with are not the same as and. They do not change the number of subjects. Like in the example, these journal articles and the textbook are essential for the assignment. So you need to focus on that when there are two when the subject consists of two or more nouns joined by int, always a plural verb is used. Like there are two nouns, general articles in the textbook. So always a plural verb is used. So the next, single subjects joined by are, nor, either, or neither, nor, take a singular verb. So see the example. Neither the textbook nor the journal article is of any relevance to the assignment. So when you have these nor, or, either, or, so you use a singular verb. So if one subject is singular and the other is plural, the verb used should agree with the closest subject when two or more nouns are joined by are, nor, either, or neither, nor. So when the case is that one subject is singular and the other is plural, so you need to use the form of the word that is correct with the closest subject. So see the example. Neither the textbook nor these journal articles are of any relevance to the assignment. So the closest is the journal articles, the plural form. So you are using the plural form of the verb. So in the other example, neither these journal articles nor the textbook is of any relevance to the assignment. So here the textbook is singular form. So you are using the is the singular form. So the other strategy in sentences starting with there is are and here is are, the verb used has to agree with what follows, since there and here function as subject fillers. So for example, here is the journal article for the assignment. And the next example, there are a few textbooks I need for the new semester. So you need to like see the flow of the sentence, that how it fits, and then you need to decide that whether you have to use the singular form or the plural form. So collective nouns such as team, committee, family, and class require singular verbs if acting as a whole, and a plural verb if acting as individuals. So this is also one of the most like widely identified mistake that when going through thesis and checking thesis, I see that students do this mistake a lot of times, that they use the collective nouns incorrectly. So see the example one, that the tutorial class is divided into several groups for the group assignment. So the class, so it's the collective noun, so a singular verb is used. So in the other, see the other example, members of the group are reminded that they have to do their fair share of work. So you can see that individual, so the other sentence, like the other example, each individual member is discussed. So we are using the plural form of the verb. So that's it. So please go through the readings to learn more about the complete sentences, and because this is the one of the main characteristic of the academic writing, is that you have to write in complete sentences. So the more you will practice, the more you will learn about the complete sentences, and the more you will see your writing or reread your writing consciously, the more you will be able to identify the incomplete sentences, and you can use the strategy discussed here to uh, identify your mistakes and correct your sentences. So this is the reference. So this content is taken from the sentence level writing. It is from Australian University. So you can access the website and learn more about the other aspects too. So thank you so much.